I so appreciate the song God Turn It Around right now because it's like a prayer. So grateful for John Reddick who sings it. John is a father of 3, and we had him on the show recently and asked him, how are you helping your kids cope with everything going on in the world right now? And he mentioned a book called The Voice of the Heart. And the author of that book is with us today, Dr. Chip Dodd. Welcome to Spirit 105.3. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation.
We'd love to know more about your book.
The book is about the core feelings that human beings are born with and created not to lose, but use. So that's the basic. Also, a children's book, How Are You Feeling Today, is about to come out over the next 2 to 3 weeks, too. And John would love that. And John Reddick is a wonderful person. I love that guy. He is such a beautiful worshiper.
Oh.
How would you advise parents to help kids through just the turmoil and everything that's been going on over the last couple of years and dealing with it?
One of the best things that parents can do for their children's emotional well-being and therefore spiritual attachment and then mental health and so on is for parents to know their own internal experience, which means that they know their own emotional lives. They know what sadness feels like, fear feels like, hurt, loneliness, fear, shame, anger, guilt, and even gladness, of course. So they need to know the experience of being fully alive so they can help their children because they need to model how to deal with life on an emotional level.
Wow. How do we as adults who are just leading busy lives, Chip, get in touch with those feelings? What is a practical way to do that?
Let me tell you, the best way, I believe, is through Christ, we've been set free. But freedom isn't free. To keep reminding ourselves that we've been given this full life, we need to develop the discipline of gathering ourselves up in the mornings, I believe, mostly. But the most practical way is to practice in the mornings, getting up, sitting down, resting your heart before you start the day. Your body's already rested from sleep, hopefully. Sit quietly, maybe some music in the background, possibly. Get out some form of the Word, whether it's word about the Word or the Word itself. And then pray and meditate. And what's amazing is the issues of the heart. Psalm 16 says, even at night, my heart instructs me. So we wake up in the morning to find out what we were instructed with or what we struggled with or what we dealt with. So we spend time in prayer and meditation, reading, we're journaling, and then we actually begin to imagine the day. Not just imagine the day, but imagine the future. And what happens is the fears come up, the anticipations come up, the sadness comes up, the hopes come up, the longings come up. In other words, the heart rises when we get still. We need to be still and know our God. Like a good friend of mine said, we first need to start looking in and then looking out and then looking up. Those 3 things. But basically, if you know the tools of the feelings, then you can start to identify the feelings. We have 8 core feelings, and those feelings are the primary colors of the emotional life.
Ooh.
Just like we have 3 primary colors, we also have 8 primary feelings. We have a certain number of musical notes. And those don't restrict us. They actually set us free because we haven't finished the symphonies yet, even with the 8 musical notes that we have. And we still have multiple hues and shades of all the primary colors once we mix and match them. So we need to know our primary feelings to be able to become artists of life, but composers of our lives.
Do most people, are they aware of those 8 feelings, of what they are?
Yes, they are from birth. And then the world starts to create what I call a lot of times an invulnerable state. We often try to address the world's pains by developing defenses, survival mechanisms. And what that means is we try to remain away from the vulnerability of our emotional lives. So we end up surviving rather than thriving. We wind up defending rather than being able to fully love. See, because love requires a vulnerability.
Yes.
And vulnerability means that we're going to have feelings. And what's amazing is love itself is a contract to be willing to be in pain. For example, if you have children, you know pain because you worry about them, you have fear about them, sometimes angry with them, sad about them. You have hopes and dreams, and you know they have to face the same life you've been through or going through or will go through. So we need to help them keep heart or keep their feelings because they're going to deal with fear, they're going to deal with hurt, they're going to deal with sadness, they're going to deal with shame, they're going to deal with guilt, they're going to deal with anger, they're going to deal with loneliness, and they hopefully are going to deal with a great deal of joy. And a lot of people say, well, how come there are 7 negative feelings and only one good one? And we could talk about that if you want to.
Sure, absolutely. How come?
Well, the truth is that God, in his graciousness and his mercy, gave us 8 tools that allow us to live fully in a tragic and broken place. And so fear is actually not an enemy. Fear is a cry out of the heart that recognizes danger. So when we get afraid, we need to turn and ask for help, like go find daddy, go find mama. So fear is a feeling that allows us to ask for help. But if society doesn't raise you to know how to use fear, anxiety takes over control, attempting to be invulnerable. So fear is a feeling that is a cry-out feeling. And through that, we reach out and we develop experiences of connection with others and God, and that develops faith. Sadness is another feeling, for example. We're all going to face loss, and I call sadness the caring feeling, which means that if you're capable of attachment, which means that you can really extend outside yourself and believe and live and attach and care and have compassion and tenderness and seek forgiveness, you know that sooner or later life is full of loss. So we're going to lose something, we're going to lose time, we're going to lose places, and we're going to lose people. So sadness is the feeling that allows us to grieve loss and seek comfort, and it brings us back to relationship again. And the gift of sadness is acceptance. So as you go through this, you realize that these feelings are tools that give us gifts. And the gifts are they keep us connected to others and God. They allow us to remain in relationship. And it turns out that the full life that God has given us is found fully in relationship with others and God. But it's our hearts that attach. So all the 8 core feelings are good, and they're there to give us gifts. And if we get good at dealing with the broken life, we're going to have joy. So these are tools that allow us to move into thriving fully.
I bet your favorite movie is that PIXAR movie, Inside Out. Am I right?
You know what? Yes, that movie came out some years after I wrote The Voice of the Heart, and I'm telling you, it was like it really hit core, like, there we go. It's good stuff. But, you know, our feelings are made to put us in need, like to God and others. They're not to make us like stronger than other people. They make us more available to other people.
Oh, that is just amazing. It is so fun getting to know you, Chip. We'll have to have you back because I feel like we've just tapped the well here. Thank you for being on the show.
I love it, and thank you for the invitation. Steve and Erica, God bless you, and I hope you have a good rest of the day, too.
Thank you.